Champion. Everyone is a champion. Can you remember how we come into this life? We had ever competed with millions of rivals, and we came in first position, because we never give up no matter what happened.
Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to completely dismantle the exhausting, endless pressure of modern hustle culture. We're handing you a strategic playbook for real, lasting mental resilience. You know, if you've ever felt like you're running a marathon on a treadmill that just keeps speeding up, well, you're definitely in the right place. We're diving into some fascinating source material that maps out exactly how to cultivate an unshakable sense of calm, absolutely regardless of whatever chaos is swirling around us.
So, let's kick things off with a massive paradigm shift. When we talk about inner peace, a true champion isn't just someone standing on a podium with a medal around their neck, it's so much deeper than that. It's about embodying the spirit of resilience and the sheer dignity of effort. It means your championship is won through your daily actions and your character, not by collecting shiny trophies to gather dust on a shelf. We're shifting focus entirely away from external accolades and totally redefining what it actually means to win.
And to get you there, here's the exact 5-step blueprint we're covering today. We'll start by redefining a true champion. Then we'll look at valuing the process over the podium, mastering recovery, celebrating your invisible victories, and learning to compete only with yesterday's self. Finally, we're going to lock it all in with the Champion's Creed.
Okay, let's jump right into our first concept, redefining a true champion and finding peace in character rather than trophies.
The old way of thinking, it leaves us completely dependent on the applause of others. Think about it. If people are cheering for us, we feel amazing. But the second it goes quiet, we feel like total failures. But the champion's way is rooted in something that literally nobody can take away from you. True peace comes from knowing, deep down, that your worth is defined by your effort. Once you make that shift, you take all of your power back.
That brings us right into our next play in the playbook, putting the process over the podium, which is all about detaching from the outcome. There's this huge, clear divide between the outcomes you can't control and your own personal preparation. A champion knows for a fact that they only control their training, their mindset, and their prep. They literally cannot control the final score or what the judges think. If you're judging your entire day based on external wins, you're just signing up for anxiety. Peace is what happens when you detach from that final outcome and take intense pride in the work you actually put in.
Let's apply this to real life. Imagine you give a massive presentation at work. You prep for weeks, but at the end, you just don't get that enthusiastic praise you were hoping for. Instead of spiraling because you didn't get a standing ovation in the boardroom, anchor yourself with this thought. I prepared thoroughly and spoke my truth. I am a champion of my own standards. You did your part. The outcome is out of your hands, and honestly, that is perfectly okay.
All right, next we tackle what happens when you inevitably stumble in our third section, recovery and internal quiet.
Listen, champions fall just as often as the rest of us. The difference is 100% in the recovery. They refuse to waste precious energy on self-pity. Instead, they use a lightning-fast, 3-step next play mentality. First, you acknowledge the stumble. Second, you extract the lesson. And third, you immediately, and I mean immediately, move your focus to the next task. True peace is the ability to forgive yourself quickly and get right back in the game without carrying around a bunch of heavy baggage. So how does this look on a random Tuesday? Well, say you break your diet by eating an unexpected donut in the break room. Do not spend the rest of the day berating yourself. That completely destroys your peace. Adopt the champion's mindset instead. Just say, okay, that was a bad play, but I'll make the next meal a great one. You just instantly focus on the next right choice. It is incredibly freeing.
But what happens when the pressure is coming at you from the outside? In a high-stakes moment, great athletes slip into a flow state, right? A place of deep, quiet focus while the crowd is absolutely roaring. When your life gets loud and chaotic, intentionally slow down. Breathe. Find that flow state by retreating to what our source material perfectly calls your inner locker room. You go inward and you actively remind yourself that you already possess the exact skills needed to handle the pressure.
Visualize yourself in the final minutes of a really stressful game. Maybe it's a brutal deadline at work, or hey, maybe it's a high-stress family argument over the holidays. By going to that inner locker room, staying calm, and doing just one single thing at a time, you give yourself the ultimate edge. Your inner peace literally becomes your home court advantage. While everyone else around you is panicking, you're just smoothly executing.
Let's keep moving to our fourth strategy, celebrating the invisible victories, where we build an unshakable foundation of self-respect.
A champion's life is built on these tiny, completely private victories that the chaos of the world cannot touch. Look, nobody's going to throw you a parade because you wanted to lose your temper but chose to stay kind instead. Nobody sees that internal struggle, but you see it. And that is a championship moment. At the end of every single day, you should literally be awarding yourself for these small internal wins. Acknowledging those invisible victories is how you construct a really deep well of self-respect.
Now, the greatest enemy of that hard-earned peace is comparison. Let's dismantle that in step 5, competing with yesterday's self.
We've got to stop comparing ourselves to others. Constantly looking at other people's highlight reels on social media is basically a guaranteed way to obliterate your inner peace. You're comparing your messy, behind-the-scenes reality to their heavily edited, filtered movie trailer. A true champion knows the only relevant opponent is the person they were yesterday. Your personal growth is entirely a solo race.
If a friend buys a bigger house or a coworker gets a promotion faster than you, do not let yourself feel less than. Actually, scratch that instinct entirely. Instead, look strictly at your own trajectory of growth. Think about how much better you handle stress today compared to a year ago. If you can face a challenge and genuinely say, wow, last year I was anxious about this, and today I am handling it with peace, then you are winning. That's the real trajectory of a champion.
All right, we have arrived at our final step, the Champion's Creed, where we synthesize this entire explainer into a powerful new identity.
This is such a profound realization. Neither your worst failures nor your absolute greatest successes dictate your true value. The idea that a champion never fails is a total myth. A champion is simply someone who never lets a failure, or just as importantly, a success, define their worth. When you detach your personal worth from the wild, fluctuating highs and lows of life, your peace becomes absolutely bulletproof.
And the best part? You don't need anyone's permission to adopt this mindset. You are a champion of your own life just by persistently executing 3 daily actions. You keep showing up even when it's exhausting, you keep learning even when you stumble, and above all else, you continually keep choosing peace over chaos.
I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to reflect on as you step into your own inner locker room today. If you were to give yourself a gold medal for something you handled really well this week, no matter how small, no matter how totally invisible to the outside world, what would it be for? Figure out what that is and claim your victory today. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep focusing on the process, and I'll see you next time.